we're back again. This I have with me. That's going to talk to you about her childhood to growing up. Tina Whitford. She was her maiden name was Tina Baptiste. So she grew up on red pheasants. We're going to talk about her again. Her childhood growing up on this reserve, like the kind of the things they used to do when they were growing up on this reserve. You know, with limited means. What I mean by that, nobody had lots of money back then. Okay, go ahead, Tina.
Dan sato yaya. Awasak dutim tit. Asam naya. Apsese tepi skway koyan. Katu taman ki way pe upiki ya awasiu ya. Aya. Peg pugaya. Need sana iskot. Emotskete ute in our family. Mary she's big sister yaw. Ewaya. Ngotosik na peog minig evit sanyan. Peg iwanyanan. Pegwas kiespin kaispay. Magaya. Ewasiu ya kayan. Stamex kisyan. Ute manegi wawikyak pasadnak. Pagwan kamu. Matyo. Ekte pasadnaw mege egi wikyak. Muesta se waya. Pa muesta ya. Kamatiks na maswan. Ute ko. Kaki pepit siya kayo waskay kanimigaw ya. Ekte utsapsis siya upikyak. Ewa upikyak. Aya manaya. Kama mam tunay taman manaya. Muy katsaya. Utsay te na timak siya. Muy kat nanto utsitutiak. Ewasiyak. Muy katsa utspaktin ko ya kapapa matsuha kapapa mutiak mes kanakani. Itegi utsupik yak tapuk. Muy upme. Ego mitseta ya. Wasagam egi. Uitsupik ima ko kawasak. Maga uyaman egi pemetets. Ego magiwaya. Wasutse pais magiwaya. Chigaste paiso. Sisiki ko ya. Magiutsayak. Tapwe pugaya. Wait nagi papmatsi. Papmatso. Agi utaw yan. Ste manegi kayo si. Muhatsin pekskate na ya. Kawap makaya. No tawe. Kapapim si kunta kapa magiway katasi ka. Mayo pisin pesage tase. Ase ki kwento tasi ka. Kaya kung ginitsa once cuts. Kung kagyogaw yan man se mag igipnosot. Kakyo ka mitswak. Matatus kaya. Kakyo atus kayo negiyak. Kagi man once ka kaya kagi smitswak. Muy katsa dots peton nagawi. Kaya ka kasaganan. Kaya si petangan. Moya. Kagi smitswak. Skate tamatan sagati tu tamagi way. Kagyo kao yan manegi ito etaya. Kagyo kutaw ino gimis skisuga kawapata man giway. Giway kakanachi ta giway katuta mi tuta. Kay pa peito suskwat tuta. Ego wis tawagan ayanit sana ko ginapewag. Eki aya. Mistetus keon wista giyatsik. Aya. Egi ngotetsik. Egom ne mawatas tatsik. Mita. Umagawi pipok. Ewan na egi maskusigetsik. Aya misatti mus stamoatsik. Maskusya ega no tegatetsik pipoke. Ego manaya ekskisian manaya egi usita tsik mana egi ingataha ko pickets sigate wa munyao igate. Egunan manaya michet egi petawata tsik egi ingataigetsik. Asko esta tsik in the pit blue stone man gisigate. Aya. Ega se magaya. Kapi watua kan fenso mago men ganong kausita kai se maga pi watua to mana ki ego tawa getsik ati te tawa getsik ekta mana pego pugo eksisian mana pego aski pego ewapata makutena ego mana kai te kam simeta we te mana gitu te ego nan ka tawa getsikan ego amamu te ego pustawin sa agak en ito te ako magam simeta we te mano ke agak te ay nanton stogis ka ego niya ops mana puigi migaw yak niya ops na kapatse hak stogis ka Ispin note pa ya ako no te mo itam migaw nan magan niya opsan nam stay egitag so kaya giwe tagitik tapos kucho masiwa pusa ang gisasin mana 5 cents wegi tagitik egom no chips ogim na 5 cents chocolate bars 5 cents egom man eksisyan big bag manaya maski mot saya candy bagsung kahit 1 cent po gani iti pa makmana. Giwe tagitik mitso next week kayas. Aya. Manegi mamiyota magawasiwa suma kaisway. Wista mana go homno ki peviche wako. Hekte gake mano kiak. Mamuchigita hekte. Kimyasin mana gas. Hepap macho. Wasiwa. Mukatin pek skaten kita mana pek timaksya. Kagiu tao yan mana kakapehim ekiusita. Stigan se upikita. Yukta. Uchimitso akamina ka. Kikiwegiyat ngayon. Papakuanak. Sisipag. Kakapegi tapo ko yak. Wapsag tapo kata. Kapepe pun manek to agimitso. Egimiyasik kayas. Machihon. Egom stay. Egikeskim gawin. Egikeskim gwa kukmanak. Noto ko kagyo kumyak. Mamis ko tsegi pewit sam gwa kukmanak. Egom ni nano makaiskweo yak mana. Mistegi totigwa kukum na. Tunkigete o kukum na. Utapi epik mana gitu kwa. At sumustad na tansuma katia ispay kumata. Ketewe ako. Tansiga isnakatukat sweg iskwewek. Tansiga isihweg. Mwiki waya kaki awya kaya kaki same kwa kispinaya. Egai kwes nagatukat swego kai kiyo wow kwes nagatukat ami. Egi tet manaya, egai kiwaya. Egai kiwaya. Kamamong se pitsui no muta. Kichi. Ninagskataw eh. Ake kako naman na. Usam napeok kagaktab mwag yuksisa. Ego pitus kiway kay kati item go na. Eki tet manangukum na. Kaya minapukaw yung squat. Katu wichewa chik. Kaya nanto kay sapat siskik napeo. Muim sa chan gaya sagiskik. Te pian gaya. Te metagatskik. Kaya kapapak tem suine kusisa. Kusisa mana ki speak squid. Kiamu tagan kwes nakatukat suine kiamu tatum tanaw napeo. Kan nipauta mua na pega kakasita kapapes kikita. Kusama me tutak kapatsis kikik sa patsum. Kapatsum kaun. Kapapi kaun. Yuksama na magis kagiskim wow kum no. Kake kwes kaktab matay sino. Kaya pugis guys. Mamu chumam tunay matay sino. Nino may kitsa nag-iwitsan yek sa gitok. Kake kwes nagatukatok. Noon ni Minnesota, Mary. We mat skate ut kake mana ya kakionit sana ke. Iktap mak mana. Kiway kanu text kita mak kiway. Semak ekwanan kakway tamak magiway sa kontu kawinan. Eko pe kondas huts ni kawinan mana hite tamak hipe witsihat ni kawi pe upigi kwak pe upigi ko yak. Eko tsamanas ko manaya. Muhat saya ngwe gika maun mis. Asko mana gakswaitin maga papunitin man. Usama meksa ekipe wichita sa te upigi kwak. Isagi hak nisa peg po ay witsan yan sko. Ikini usyan. Magayam. Ni step up siski way gutome ikinu teatro taman. Magam soat mi nagitom. Kay Spain. Katsumuan ki kwaya. Nanas ko muanen tutaw yek. Hay.
Thank you, Tina, for sharing your family stories. A little bit in the Yowin, because our young people need to start learning the language so they can understand us, what we're saying to them. So again, kinanaskumtin,
Yeah.
we have another guest here to come and talk to you. Jason Daniels. So Jason is here. Everybody's been waiting for him. I kind of lost him over there somewhere. I can't keep up with him, even though he's got a He's walking with a crutch. So here you are.
That's it. Good afternoon. Glad to be here. Asked again to speak, come in to speak and relate the stories that the other day I'm gonna continue with the story of Jacob Bill. You know, some of the stories that us First Nations people. Some that it takes day and night of one story. Some I hear my grandma talk about her grandma. They gave just a cigarette, and what was mentioned. They spoke almost all night about certain things that we need in life, or to understand what it is, protocols, ceremonial, the laws that we have. There's so many things to understand. These, how they speak of, and why they spoke that way, because of the tobacco that was given. There's so many stories, upbringing. We were told, I was told, and and those teachings, the elders here today, from their elders. Those are the vivid memory they have to carry on with the culture, the language, the things that we have at the moment of us First Nations people are vivid memories. So we're trying to like hope, understand, be a broadened embrace to what is being said. Not only you are our future, we'll be here. Hopefully, we'll guide you and direct you. The protocols of our ancestral roots are the reasons why we're here. We're here. We're still here. The stories go back from beginning of time to the present day and carry it into the future. So a lot of protocols, a lot of understanding, being who, what, how you are, of teachings, behavior. In a school system, they talk about the TP teachings, to relate to the TP teachings, to relate on the language, the meanings, the worldview aspect, and how to see the creation, Mother Earth, the four-legged, the two-legged, the ones that squither, the ones that swim, the plant life, the people. These are all in the school system from our ancestral roots, their knowledge. A lot has been passed down, but yet a little grasped for it. But yet It's a need to learn, a need to know, a need to understand, a need to carry on. I this is the second day I came in, and I carry on with Chakapel. Where I left off was when Chakapel came up to the mountain. Just a little reminder, when he went up, that he wiped out Bigfoot, Wisake Chak. Not Wisake Chak, Sasquatch. Yeah. Then when he wanted his mom and dad's hair, his kukum, his mushroom, his chapan, when he grabbed that hair and then when he cut the hair off and had his mom and dad's hair, he was so proud. He was happy. But when the hair fell off that Bigfoot, where I left off the other day, how that Bigfoot Sasquatch, how he looked. He had black around his eyes, white, black mouth. The story himself, Chakapel, he was the one that kept his story alive, where I'm explaining it today. He's the one that's seen that. Now when he grabbed his hair, he came down the mountain, knowing that there's that era where he lived at that time ended. The fear, getting scared, not getting angry, yelling, whistling at night. He was so proud of himself. Whoa, we can actually sing. We can have round dances now. We can have powwows again. Going on, he was jumping. He was so proud of himself. Chakapel is a person that had high loyalties of his parents, honoring his parents, his grandparents, his Japanak. There's many stories through his lifetime, Chakapel. Many stories that go on and on. But when he came down that mountain, when he went back to the village, the tribe, come down that mountain again, his older sister said to him, "What did you do? What did you do? Do you realize what you have done? You don't even realize what you did." Chakapel was so proud. "I got mom and dad's hair. They're right here. They're right here." "No, you did something. What did you do?" Part of that time of era reflects to this day how the Bigfoot looks. When that Sasquatch spoke, he said, "I'm powerful. I'm almighty powerful. You don't realize how powerful I am." So that essence, that divine essence of his power is still here today and active. The skeletons that you see, black around, black lips, black mouth, that essence of that spirit is still there. So strong that the hair, the The ancestral root hair is still up there. There's a reason why that power is still on ingrained, rooted on a pattern, a way of life. Where today, as at the moment, as lipstick, glasses, we and the power that he has, where did the essence come from? You know, we look at, on the other hand, holidays like Halloween, wintertime, you know, Frosty the Snowman. You know, when you look at how when we go to a store this present day, you see a mannequin in a store. It's just like what Jagapeo seen. So when he came down the mountain and the sister said, Jagapeo, what did you do? You don't realize what you have done for the people in the future. So that legacy he left, we're actually living it here with Jagapeo. You know, when he came down, days after, there's ceremonies. They celebrated, they danced, powwow. Later on, they danced a round dance. They sang at night. They're yelling at night, sagoing. They were so happy, and still to this day, we have that today. We have powwows, we have round dances, we have night lodges. You know, we still celebrate that because we're celebrating that we can yell, we can sing. On the other hand, we are told still to this day, practice that just in case. Don't whistle, don't get mad at night. We still have to think back because there's 3 more left. They can migrate over so many years. There might be a lot of them again. So the scary thing is they might migrate and do that again to Indian people, to the world. So many stories about Bigfoot, Sasquatch. And it's scary. It's scary if that happened again. To this day, Jagapeo seems like he made good too at the same time, because we can see too. We have glasses. It's just like that, the blackness around the eyes, referring to the glasses that we see today to look at things, to read things. You know, that hair is really important. Many elders throughout North America, us Indian people, First Nations, Cree people, these teachings are still here about our hair, to take care of our hair. Don't leave it laying around. Maybe an elder will come here and talk about hair. You know, these stories branch out. They branch out from Chakapeo's story. Where it originated from, where it came from. And that from that iron bow is the teaching. The arrow. How did we have iron back in the day? That's another story to tell. Someday, somehow, maybe an elder will talk about it. Many elders to this day, they share teachings in their lodges, they talk about metal. They say First Nations people made metal. How they took it overseas and how they used it and used their powerful ways to have buildings today. We talk about the elements: water, air, earth, fire. That fire is the element of fire is actually good and bad. With that fire, you can make a lot of things. First of all, metal. You make plastic, etc. You can go on with that. Who discovered that? Nehiyawak. First Nations people. Back in the day, when you look in history, the four colors of man, it was the First Nations to lead the way to make that happen for their existence in this world. Elders that I myself, growing up, heard them speak about those things, mention those things. Maybe one day, talk about it. Many of our elders to this day, they keep in silence. They don't want to share anything because of residential school, day school, treaty signings, the chemical war, smallpox. The list goes on. There's a lot of upsetting circumstances from the east direction. All these sicknesses, all these problems, all come from the east direction. They brought it to our land here. Resilient people were still here. We're here because of the teachings that they left behind, the wisdom, the knowledge. Not to give up, akamemo. Carry on. Be strong, be tough. Meaning that handling stress, handling anger, never to tell a lie, to be strong, to overcome those. Not strong to fight, to beat up a person. That's the wrong thing to do. To hurt a person. We're told not to hurt anything. We're told to respect Mother Nature, the four-legged, two-legged, the ones that squither, the ones that swim. We're told that. If we can do that, we can teach ourselves that. A lot of these stories, the elders say, there is no light. They had lanterns. They had to work labor work to get an axe, cut wood, just to have a stove fire to eat. Grab water near a lake or a river. Those days are gone, but the story lives forever. To this present day, you turn a switch on, just like that lantern, to have light in the day, at night. You turn a tap, There's water coming there. That when they say the kings and queens are like babies today, I don't know if you'll ever learn to go get wood, cut it, how it feels to cut that wood. How does it feel to go into the bush to grab that wood, chop that tree down, haul it out, chop it up, split it. After you split it, haul it in inside for your own children. Our old people done that for your mom and dad. Our elders today. Some of the elders say that we might be living like that again. So be prepared. If we're to live that, exercise. Be prepared. Be prepared for anything. Be strong. We're strong people. We never gave up because we didn't want anybody to go hungry. We didn't want a person to be thirsty. They did their physical being. They were strong, healthy. Versus today, barely anybody exercises. Barely any does anything. You ask a person to do something, they'll be tired. If they do a little bit, even just to pitch up a teepee, they don't know how to do that today. Or else to get wood for the willows, for the sweat, wood for the rocks to be heated up. Most of people get tired. They don't know that strong man work. They don't have that physical stability like our ancestral, our elders. They were resilient, and their mind was more intact of whys and how comes and what for, and reason, and the creation story to boot. Today, it's really difficult, as most people are not physically strong anymore. Or simply say something, they get easily offended. They get hurt right away. Mommy, they said something to me. I don't like what they're doing to me. Well, what did they talk about? Our Indian ways. Who are we? What are we? These old people are trying to share how stressful it was and how difficult it was, but they had the physical strength to do things, and they had the knowledge, where we're lacking to this day of that physical strength. So here, we try and explain in the English form to enhance, to see how difficult it is for an elder to speak English, and then trying to make sense to what they're talking about. I mean, it's really difficult. And you speak the language. There's so much understanding about the language on just one Cree word. One Cree word has a lot of meaning. It branches out to other things that relate. And it relates to a lot of things that you see as the creation of the four seasons we live in. Most of the elders, they never lied along the way. So they made us believers to how our existence is of our First Nations people. The creation story relates to everything that you see today. So you can't even lie on one hand. So now today, without the creation story, this present day, a lot of young people, a lot of people don't know. So they're kind of making stories, might be lying. But all in all, carry on. Like I said, as long as that we have elders, people, knowledge keepers, ceremonial leaders, through song, dance, through prayer, through this creation, this and creation stories, the upbringings, how difficult and hard, where you can sit and relax and tell a story. It's not an easy life because we have to learn a thing or two along the way. Hopefully, we carry on. I have to put trust in you young people because you are our future. Today, they asked me to come to say a few words. And today, I like to say good afternoon, and you guys have a nice, wonderful day. And I'm thankful to give me a privilege to say a few words about us as First Nations people, Cree people, and acknowledgement throughout Saskatchewan. Elders are talking about stories, upbringings, gathered all up, Kagisimo, hope for the best. Ego se hai mituan.
Hey, I would like to thank Jason Daniels. Igi tapo game, taga peito, tet kapi atsimut. Omun kaya, ya tayo, keton, kato taton, agi satsimus taguik. So with that, I would like to thank him again from on behalf of the school for coming here all the way from Musumena. Egomine pe wiche wat wiche ogana. So thank you again, and yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, that way. Hi.
And we have a couple. We have a woman that's waiting on the side here. And someone, what is that saying they say when they play baseball? One on base, or what is it? What is it? One,
on deck.
Oh, we have a woman that's on deck.
Yeah.
Who's on first? So.
Oh yeah, an elder. Oh yeah. Okay, what's that?
Oh, we have some comments here. Oh,
Okay.
that's her. Look at that's his.
To hear more stories.
Raquel. That's his. That's her. That's his wife. Saying, I'd love to hear more stories from our Creek elders in our Saskatchewan area. Our kids need to hear these stories. There are so many. I'm learning myself. I was see, yeah. And then we had that before, Lawrence Lemucci. It's time, huh?
Yeah.
Says it's a good feeling. I still
Lawrence.
do that to this day. And again, he says, thank you so much. It's a good day to hear stories. Yes. And that's why it's cold, because we keep talking about Wisaki Station, Wisaki Chak.
Yeah, Wisaki Chak.
Once we're done,
It'll warm up.
It'll warm up.
Yeah.
Because, epetata makisin. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Once we're done. So all those people that are doing stories about Visakha, once this month is done up here. No more discussing about stational.
Yeah.
We want that warm weather.
Yeah. It's a long winter. Ego se. Is that all the comments?
Yeah.
It's all good. All right. Have a nice day. Is that good?
Oh, Barry, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, so you guys stay tuned. We have Sylvia Watney that's coming back to talk to you. Yes, yeah, Sylvia Watani. By the way, that's a proper way of saying Watney. Watani. That was the tail part. That was the tail part of the eagle's a feather. The tail part. Watani. Watani. Still on here. Oh. Sorry to leave you. I had to open the door. But anyways, so far we had quite a good number. We had one that spoke pure Nehiyawit, spoke the language Nehiyawit, talking about how she grew up on this reserve. And before that, we started off with Julu, Peter Benson, also talking about how he grew up on this reserve. Edgar Baptiste, how he grew up, and he gave a few, in the Cree language, a few pointers on how we as Nehiyawak, the values and all these teachings that were handed down to us. Same thing with Tina Whitford after that, after the young men, Sainuk, talking about how she grew up on this reserve when, talking about her family, the chores, and everything. And then we had Jason Daniels talking about a legend, Atayu Kewen, which reminds me, a couple of the elders had mentioned that a long time ago, life was hard. It was hard, but to me, it was a good life. It wasn't an easy life. It was a good life. Nobody was poor. I didn't think I was poor. I thought we were rich. Oh my God, I thought we were millionaires when we got power in the house. Honest to God. When we first got our house on Sweetgrass, it was a brand new house. Back then, Sweetgrass had their own housing factory. That means that the men on the reserve, they were hired, and there was this big area where they built houses for the people on the reserve. They called it, I remember it was called a factory. And that's where our house was built. And then it was moved to where we live now. And I remember, man, my mushum used to go there on evenings to go clean up that factory, straighten out all the lumber and sweep up the sawdust. And it wasn't, we all, he used to walk. That was about a 2.5 mile walk. Like you walk there to work and you walk at night back home. Yeah, it was quite we were well. Oh, that time when I was telling you we had our new house, I remember we had not one stitch of furniture in that house. And as we walked into this house, and my brothers went in. Oh my God, we thought we lived in a mansion. I thought it was a castle. I thought it was a queen. A real big house. I thought, oh my God. Now to this day, that house seems so small. We all, when everybody comes to the house, there's not enough. I end up sleeping on the floor. Well, we actually started sleeping on the floor when we were young. But anyways, I remember when we got that house first time, we climbed up, got inside. My brothers went way to the far bedroom, and I stayed in the kitchen area. And my brother was just talking. I could hear the echo in that house. There was nothing in that house. And you know what? That house was built in 1969. And I do say so myself, it's still in great shape. Not a hole in a wall, no broken window. Even the cupboards are original. I keep painting the house. That's one of my projects this summer. And then not too long after that, years and years and years after that, we got a basement. Oh my God! I thought I was living in the Philippines, right up high on stilts. It'll be ready for a flood, I figured. But anyways, and then we got electricity. Oh my goodness! You appreciate these things. We got electricity, and it was even better. We got running water. Oh, we can flush the toilet inside. We can go inside to use the toilet instead of going outside in the cold morning. Remember that, Sylvia?
Yes.
Oh my God! I would, to this day, I don't never use a toilet on a cold winter morning. Not this morning or yesterday morning. And walking through the deep snow. By the time I get to the toilet, my business would have been over. But anyways, that's enough of me. Now we have Sylvia Watney. So please do Watani. We would never get that toilet inside that.
Now, there's the. I like to use some kind of props because I think you can relate to it better. Right?
Mm. Oh. That was
Yeah. Okay, shall we get started? Good afternoon. My name is Sylvia Watney. Sylvia Watney niyan nitisi kasun. I grew up on Red Pheasant, Behelga Muksit, and the other name for it is Mixoachik because we're located in the Eagle Hills. I was reading a book called Footprints in the Dust, and it's about the Battle River, or the Riel Rebellion and Fort Battleford. And then they were describing all the different reserves. This Don Light, who had written the book, but a lot of it is information from the different people in the RCMP, or the Northwest Mounted Police and militia, that kept diaries. And one of the things that he put for Red Pheasant is Red Pheasant made up of Cree and mixed bloods. Mixed bloods could be a European or Métis. So that's where I'm going to start, is with my Métis mother. First of all, she grew up just out of Battleford in the Eagle Hills. She lost her dad when she was 8 years old, and she, her mom and dad and the 5 kids lived with her dad's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Morn. And then when her dad died, her mom moved them into Battleford. She was so lonesome for her grandparents that she'd go from window to window looking out for them. And then she actually, I guess, even quit eating. Then one day, her grandparents came in a little buggy with horses, and they came to visit, back with her grandparents, and that was it. She was then never went back to her mom. She was raised by her grandmother and grandfather, Alexander and Margaret Morn. As she was growing up, she would tell me stories about the Métis people, how they were very poor and lived on road allowances. So basically, they had no land, no community. The government hadn't given them any kind of land, and so they, as she was growing up, they weren't too bad off. They did have some land and farm, but she also told me that when the Métis were given land, only 2 families with the same name could be given land. So actually, my mom's biological name, or their first family name, was Moran, Morand. But in order for her grandfather to get land, script they called it, from the government, he changed his name to Morin, Morin. So that was an interesting piece of our history as well. And then when as she was growing up, her grandfather was very adamant about her marrying a treaty Indian, or what they called Askiju, and would say to her, Askiju, go napemin, you'll marry a treaty Indian so that so you won't be landless, and your kids, you'll have a land base and a community, and also your kids, your future generations will also have land and a community. And so when she turned 17, January 19th, she married my dad January 25th. She'd never even been on a date with him. And we all went, what? Anyway, she married my dad, and she was only 17. And she said, I'm so glad I listened to my grandfather, because now I have a community and I have land, even though it is not privately owned. But she said, I feel now I belong someplace. She loved her community. She loved Red Pheasant Reserve. And my mom and dad were married for 40 years. When he passed away in 1978, my mom was only 57 then. And she took driver ed, learned how to drive a car. And actually, she was still driving when she was 92. My mom passed away in 2019. She was 5 months short of 100. And I think if I show you her picture, you'll probably remember her driving around. There's my mother. Beautiful, beautiful mom with the Métis green eyes. And then this is their picture when they were young. My mom said she weighed 100 pounds. And this is when my father was in the sanatorium when I was born in 1945. And he was also, his mom was also Métis. And she was from Green Lake. Her last name was Gerard. So my dad was an extremely talented fiddle player with knowing all the fiddle tunes. So I grew up dancing the Red River Jig. To this day, I love the fiddle music, and so I think on Red Pheasant, a lot of people can relate to dancing the Red River Jig and having a Métis background or other European background. I know that's how we grew up. And my aunt did some genealogy, looking at genealogy, and it was interesting to find out that my dad's mother had 9 brothers who were all gifted Métis fiddlers. Anyway, so then my mom then moved. Oops. I think I'm good. My mom then moved with her new husband to Red Pheasant Reserve, and she lived in a log cabin, and or they lived in a log cabin, and then times were really hard, and we lived by the lake, and it was. To this day, I'm really, I love loons because that's what I always heard in the summertime. And my grandfather lived with us. He only spoke Cree. My mom and dad spoke both Cree and English, but my dad, my grandfather only spoke Cree, so I was really blessed to grow up learning the Cree language. Before I go any further, I want to backtrack a bit. And when my mom and dad got married, my mom got her treaty status. So they got married in January, and probably treaty payouts would have been in May. So with her first treaty money, she bought this lamp. It's a coil oil lamp. And then you put a globe on top. So she bought this lamp in 1937. So it's 85 years old. And she left it for me. So someday I'll pass it on to one of my family members. And so she paid $1.25 for this lamp, and that was her first treaty money. So I think she was pretty responsible, spending her money wisely. So we grew up with a coil oil lamp. So if you could imagine this coil oil lamp with coil oil, and then there's a wick. It's like lighting a candle. And our whole house would just have one lamp for a bigger room. And so it was really, really hard to do much of anything. And I guess that's why a lot of times the old people would come, and there'd be a big fire because we sort of had like a stove and one with glass on top, and you could see the flames. And we'd all sit around in half a circle with the old person at the head, and they would tell us all these different stories about Wisake Chalk, the little people. And so that was how we spend our evenings. We went to bed early and got up early. And the other thing, though, is I remember the old people loved playing cards. And I think they used to make bets like for 5 cents. And they would actually play all night long. I remember my grandfather would go to the village, and he would play cards all night. So that was their entertainment. And when we finally moved into a government house, or a smaller house with two bedrooms and an open kitchen, living room area, that was like, wow. It was warmer, and it was made out of not out of logs, but out of wood. And I remember, but we had no running water. We had no indoor plumbing, so we had to go outside to use the toilet. And my dad was kind enough. We all at night we were able to use the slop pail, and so that was really, really difficult. I remember my mom also having to go to the lake, get water, and then wash our clothes. That must have been really hard for her. Then when I was born, my dad had TB, so he was at Prince Albert Sanatorium for 2 years. And my mom told me I was born on a beautiful Thanksgiving morning. And then I was a month old before she was able to go on the train, which used to go through here near Red Pheasant. And we went to see my dad in Prince Albert. And I was a month old. And I remember my grandfather, David Watney, who I say is my hero because he lived with my mom and dad, and when my dad was in the sanatorium, and he helped my mom, as did a lot of other people on the reserve. They'd come and watch my mom, and I remember her telling me that she said, you know, when you were born, your dad was in the sand. Uncle Gavin came and checked up on me, and then she had 2 midwives look after her. Then he said, just gonitim. Gandona tao ni ma kapewi chamisk. Such my dad can look after the kids. So he went and got his mom on the and Grandma Jim came and stayed with my mother after I was born to help her out with the other 3 of my older siblings. That's how things were in the olden days. People helped each other. And so anyway, one of the things I do remember is my grandfather hitching up his horses and driving us to school, which was about 3 miles away. And in the winter time, putting hay in the sleigh and driving us to school. And the reason I say he's my hero is I think it's because of him that we were never taken away to go to residential school. And my mom was also very, 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 very responsible. I couldn't have asked for a better mother. That one time after residential school came out, I asked her, I said, Mom, what would you have done if we'd been taken away to residential school? And I said, would you have started drinking? And she goes, I don't think your dad and I would have drank, but she said we probably would have died of broken hearts. And so we were blessed to have my grandfather, and he was already in his late 60s probably when he was getting up early in the morning, hitching up the horses, driving us to school. And one of the things too that I remember is my dad really valued education. He always stressed, get a education, get a career, get a job. And I remember I was just telling my granddaughter this morning, my mom telling me this story about she said, Sylvia, you were always really responsible too when it came to school. She said that one time it was raining and I said, you kids didn't have to go to school. Anyway, you said, I have to go to school because I have a test. Must have been in grade 8 because it's a 3-mile walking to go to school. And she said, okay, if you have to go, then you can, go. So I grabbed a lunch pail and took off to school. But the lunch pail I grabbed, she used to make our lunches in these 3-pound lard pails. So the pail I grabbed was the one that was full of lard, not the lunch pail. So I heard that story several times. Anyway, my mother was always there looking after us. I remember in the summer when we had the log cabin, how they would mix mud and mud and hay together, and then slap it on the cabin, the wood, the log structure, and then after she'd whitewash it. And another time I remember her telling this story about there was always, because we lived by the lake, there was a lot of snakes there. And she said, this one night, your mushroom and I took turns watching you. We moved the bed in the middle because we were scared of the snakes that did come crawling in. And so they had hard times. And now, what else? And now that, we have it really easy, having running water, washing machines, I think our young people don't even know how hard it used to be. We all had to take turns helping our parents. And one of the things we were never allowed to do is sleep in. It was, we had to get up and help with different chores. My sister Dolores used to love working outside, feeding the horses, the cattle, and I always loved working inside. And so those were, when I was 14, after I finished grade 8, I had to go to school in Saskatoon. And going from a little one-room school to a school with 600 people was really an astounding culture shock. But my mom and dad gave me a lot of support. I was boarding, I was in a boarding place, and a lot of things. You think about many different things. I remember this one time it was getting dark, and I was walking home to my boarding place. All of a sudden, these car pulls beside me, and they yell at me, and they're 3 or 4 guys in there. And I thought, and they stopped, and I thought, I remember being scared, and I pretended I was going. There was a house nearby, and I remember I pretended I was going into the house, and they took off. So now when I think of that, and I think of, missing and murdered women, I thought, wow, I guess I was a little street smart. And anyway, I ended up coming home for grade 10. And then we drove the bus. Uncle Gavin drove the bus to Battleford, and it was 30 miles. And it was sort of nice because we all slept on the bus when we got off. And What else can I say? Oh, my mother, like I had said before, my dad died when my mother was 57. So she went back to, she didn't go back to school. She took driver ed. Uncle Lennox Watney was a driving instructor then, so he gave her these lessons, and she'd never driven a vehicle. And then she got her lessons, and at 92 she was still driving her little white car. And so a lot of you will remember, especially the older ones, my mom driving around in her little white car. My mother was extremely blessed. She felt extremely blessed to have married my dad, a Treaty Indian, to have a land base, a community that worked and supported her. And so she always was so blessed. My mother had always supported us in whatever we did. She used to make us powwow outfits if we wanted to dance. When we had sweats at her house, she always made soup and bannock for us after. So in many ways, she supported us, even though she was raised Catholic. But she never ever was. She told us always to appreciate and respect other people's religions, and never ever to think one is better than the other. She loved the sound of the drum. She goes, the drum just hits your heart when you hear it. She loved going to powwows. She loved, like when I showed my beaded outfit, she helped me with part of it when we were filling in. Yeah, so I grew up I was really, really blessed to grow up in a good home. I never had to be afraid of coming home with my parents drinking or be scared. I grew up in a very secure home. And I always feel really blessed about that. And my dad telling me, get an education, get a career, get a job. And 7 years ago, I retired from 40 years working with the government. So I'm really glad for all the different values my parents instilled in me. Ekwase? Jeez, I'm not going to
Yes, I would like to thank Sylvia Watney for coming down to share her upbringing on Red Pheasant. And she even brought her the lamps that were used back then. I think, Sylvia, I think we should go back to those.
I do have a few.
Like some families have these in their homes for emergency.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Actually, everybody should.
Yeah.
You never know when the power goes out.
Yeah.
Gotta have one. And a wood stove.
Yep. And that's better than having a candle.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Candles are dangerous.
Yeah.
At least with this, it has a cover. See? And at a certain hour, just blow out the light. And everybody has no choice to go to bed. Yeah, so, yeah, Roy, I'd like to thank her for coming. And we'll have one more and we'll be done for our storytelling. And yeah. And Sylvia Watney brought her confidant, her friend, her buxom buddy. Her name is Alice Albert. So Alice was here. I've been with her. She came once. Alice was here a couple of days ago. Sylvia. Alice was with her. So yeah, Braden. We'll have a little break. I'll go get our next speaker, and that'll be the last one. Yeah. It says Lawrence Lamucci. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't know where he's from. Maybe you can tell us where you're from. Lawrence said, yep, I'm happy I got to experience some of these type of stories in my early years. Cabin bush life. Oh, you grew up. I don't know where you're from. Maybe tell us where you're from, Lawrence. And also he wrote down, I wonder if you can get stories in Cree and in English if possible. I love to hear the Cree language even if I don't understand it at all, which is right. Because that's the only way we're going to have our young people learn the language. If if it's spoken, Nihiawewan. So yeah, there's Lawrence Lamucci. I hope I pronounced that right. Don't worry. When I went to university, even one professor didn't pronounce my last name right. Call me Brenda Albert. Alice Albert. And I was looking around that. I was looking around that class and wondering, who is this Brenda Albert? yeah. So if you guys, we have one more, and her name is Doreen Daniels. She'll be coming along, and she's also one of the elders on this reserve, matriarch. She's a mother to a lot of children, grandmother to lots, and even I think became a great grandmother. So I'll give you a little, excuse me. Before we had Sylvia come and talk, I was talking to you about how I grew up on sweetgrass. Like I was talking about how, first of all, before we got this new house, before my mom got this new house. Okay, before my mom got this new house, we all lived in this one-room house. Oh my God, we were packed like sardines. There was only one. Oh, Lawrence is from Cadot. How do you pronounce that? Cadot Lake, Alberta, and have family in Saskatchewan. Lived there in my youth. I'm also heard stories from Muslim and Kukum parents fleeing to Alberta due to rebellion chaos. Oh, this rebellion started by Apitogo's Sanak. I heard Louis Riel. Muy Nahilak. They didn't start that. Yeah. But anyway, it's nice to hear from you, Lord. How's the weather up there? Takayao, Kisinao. Remember, the two words are different. Takayao and Kisinao. Over here, it's Kisinao. Okay. But anyways, I was telling you about before we got the new house, we all lived in one tiny little house. There was my kuko, my musum, my mom and dad, us kids, two of my uncles. I still don't know how we ever managed to. Oh yeah, Tapwe. That's right, Lawrence. Good day. Great for stories. Anyways, we all lived in this cramped up tiny. But you know what? We were happy. We were all cramped up in this little house. And then we used to sleep all over the floor. The ones that slept on the floor, on the beds that were lucky enough were my uncles. And the rest of us kids, we all, well, I'll tell you, we were close to the stove, the wood stove. So, yeah, we were close. That's why we heard all these stories too growing up, because we were all lived under the same roof. And then when we got our new house, the house wasn't very far from our kukum and mushroom. So it was just like walking distance. Like I said, when we had this new house, it was like a castle. I thought it was a queen, a princess. Then I thought we were even richer when we got power. And I thought we were billionaires when we got running water. Holy smoke, I remember that. Braden doesn't remember any part of no power, no running water. Like, can you imagine running in the middle of the night to the toilet? trying, holding a little lamp, finding your way, walking through the deep snow. And if it's snowing, you have to make your own trail. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Sometimes, by the time you trudge your way through the snow to the toilet, your business is gone already. You know what I mean, Braden? No point of going there anyway, so you turn around. Oh, it was hard. Life was hard. But to me, it was, when I think about it, we were rich. Honest to goodness. We had everything a child could have. We had the love and the support, the closeness of our family. We had the world outside. The food was out there. The weather. Even the winters were cold. There were deep, deep snow. But we didn't care as kids. We had fun. Yes. I could still visualize it. I could visualize the day when our chapan came to visit one time. And she brought some fruit. I thought, oh my, all the kids were so happy. Our chapan brought fruit. She brought oranges. She brought apples. She brought some grapes. I don't know. She must have picked it up when she was on her way from where, her reserve in Moosomin to Sweetgrass. We thought she was going to feed us these fruit. Here she made herself some moonshine. And then she made this moonshine in a pail. And then she put it behind the wood stove. And she used to tell us, shh, what's it? What's? Get away from there. Don't bother it. Scary as kids. She would, she really kept an eye on that moonshine, cheap way yeast. That's what she called it. That was her Christmas treat. And every once in a while, she, walked slowly up to it, and she'll have a little stick that she had cleaned off, and she would stir it ever so gently. And this thing, I could hear it bubbling up. But anyway, she was making herself some homemade brew, and she always, it was always done by Christmas. And you know what? The way they celebrated Christmas, they didn't really, that that home brew never got them really drunk, just happy, I guess. In a way, they started singing in pots and pans, and they used to sing. And everybody will be around dancing in the house, and us kids will be looking from behind the door. Like I said, life was, it was a good life. It was, you had to do these things to survive. You had to get wood, snow for water. You had to get your food from nature. Yeah, all these things. Life was good. And you young kids nowadays, your life is easy. Like, yeah, when you're cold, you just go up to a wall, turn a little thing there, and it turns up your heat. When you want to drink water, you turn the tap, water comes running out. Yeah. And it's so easy to take a bath now, and some kids don't even take a bath every day. Us, we have to get our own, in the winter, we have to get our own snow, melt it, warm it up. Oh, you did, Alice. You used to eat eat the fruit from the moonshine. That's a good one. Did you feel happy after that, Alice? Did you at least get a little buzz from the fruit?
No.
Oh, yeah, potatoes too. And raisins. Oh, yeah, that home brew. Jeez. Things we talk about, huh? Yeah, so survival was the number one thing. back then. And we're not talking about 2 centuries ago. Like this is like in the, I would say, the 60s, the 70s, and part of the 80s. Oh, you didn't know what that was, Alice. Oh, okay, but now you know what it is. Yeah, this is like Muikayas, not too long ago that all these things were, that life was a lot different than it is now. Even education, school, it's a lot different than it is now. Like back then, kids were not allowed to speak the Cree language. English was forced on them. And what happened was, because the English was forced on these, actually to the point when, the teacher would hit the kids if they spoke Cree. And they had no choice but to learn the English language. And they still learn, they spoke Cree at home. What really amazes me is now, these young people, like, I'm the language teacher here. What really amazes me now is here we're teaching them our own language. Yeah, are teaching them our own language. And their number one language, I would say, is English, because that's the language that's spoken to them at home. My language at home is nothing but Nihiawe. When we all speak the Cree language at home, my brothers and myself, we all speak the language all the time. There's no other way, because we understand better. We can explain ourselves better. But anyways, yeah, that's it's really weird how things have kind of went topsy-turvy on this whole what happened in the historical points as to now made an effect on us. Yeah, so what I'm saying is I always remember this one elder was telling me, this one Otsugo, she passed away a long time ago. Gispen kiwanita no kinihiaw no pixquo no. Munanto gagituta kanto skatama. She used to say, once we lose this language, we have nowhere else, no place to go and pick it up. I'll give an example. These French people, if they are starting, they notice that they're starting to lose their language, they just go to France. Same thing with other nationalities. Spanish people, they can go to Spain, Mexico, whatever language. Kaya no more, we have nowhere else to go. We have to learn it. Our young people have to learn it now. Lawrence Muchi, I hope I pronounced his name right, says, I try to teach my kids some lessons to be strong, and I really relate to these stories and so grateful to hear them here. I wish I knew how to share this live. I understand your Cree and they speak some of on my res. We may be in the West, but the language is still same sounds like. Yes, we do. Nihiawe Winuma, this Cree language, it's got 5 dialects. Yeah, you have your TH dialect. Over here, we have the Y dialect. You have your TH dialect, your L dialect, your R dialect, and dialect, but we still can understand each other. It's just a different dialects. I went and I taught in Pelican Arrows one year, and they had the TH dialect, and I had the Y dialect. We understood each other, but the one thing they said was, "Holy smokes, you speak fast Cree." And here all this time, I thought they spoke fast Cree. But if you really slow it down, we can understand each other. Your white dialect too. Tapos yung asin. Ay instructa man ni hiyawe. Ni hiyawe kaya no. So yeah. And I would like to thank these Sylvia, for coming, and Alice Albert.
And you can say I really enjoyed myself.
And yeah, Alice
Thank you for having me.
Alice Albert said she really enjoyed herself, and she's really glad to have come along with Sylvia. Yeah, it is. But anyways, yeah, ang gitin big skan omega Lawrence. Kiego meskutsto. Our speaker is, don't know. Yeah, okay. You know what? I think I'll stop there because we have things. I have things to do. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Okay, thank you, and we'll see you guys soon. Hopefully, we patch. Good evening, good afternoon, goodbye. Yeah, with us. Okay.